Welcome back to the channel. Here we are again looking at Lucid Motors, or CCIV stock as it is currently known. We have a lot to talk about when it comes to the price of CCIV stock, as the price has fallen today by a further 4.1%. And whilst this may sound like a negative for a lot of people, I'm talking about some of the positives to CCIV that I currently see looking at the share price. Obviously, as always guys, this is not financial advice, it is just my personal opinions, and I absolutely could be incorrect. Again, I definitely do not want you to follow me. I want you to make up your own minds when looking at this stock or any other stock or crypto which we talk about on this channel. But here we are again giving some of my thoughts, and as I did mention in the last video, we will be looking at CCIV a lot more, potentially even daily now, being as you guys do enjoy it so much, and that is another reason to subscribe to the channel. And again, if you have subscribed to the channel, also make sure to follow us on Twitter, because we now have a Twitter. It is at N2S Finance. You can see that we give updates pretty much every single day, or at least every single weekday, on interesting new videos, interesting new retweets, and all that kind of stuff. So do go follow us on the Twitter. Right now we're going to jump in and look at the emotions that we are seeing with CCIV. So as always guys, we're going to start off on the more simple charts and gauge the past 5 days that we are seeing. So we've seen a full 5-day decline now on the price of CCIV. Obviously you could draw a straight line from those highs up there all the way down at 26 down to 24 right now. Now looking at what we have seen today, we've seen a drop of a further 4.1%, which isn't great, but obviously looking at the past 5-day trend that we are seeing, we are possibly seeing this sell-off slow down a little bit in how much it has been moving, and this could be a good thing going forwards. So overall, it is absolutely possible that we could see a pretty flat day tomorrow, and if that is the case, I would like to see a bit of a reversal coming for the price of CCIV. The past month for CCIV has been quite bullish. I think that is what we should focus on as well, because yes, we are seeing a pretty red 5 days, and people are going to look at that 5-day chart and say, well, this is not performing very well in the past week, especially for the people who bought up here, or maybe even up here, and yeah, it isn't performing well for those people, but let's look at the numbers, let's look at the facts. The price of CCIV was at $18 about 30 days ago. It hit highs up here, which were at 27, before taking a bit of a sell-off, and obviously some people were taking profits, as you can imagine, but yes, it took a bit of a sell-off, and that is to be expected. Guys, after a stock has run up by about $10, you can imagine in about a month, it is going to drop by a little bit, as some people do take profits. I personally believe that is what we are seeing now with CCIV, so I am not too concerned that the price is dropping. Now, for those of you who are looking at the charts a little bit more, we can cross over here and have a look at the charts. Now, again, a lot of stuff is going on here, as you guys can see. Some of it you will know, and again, I will try and explain everything to the best of my ability, but a lot of you guys will already know what is going on the screen. So first things first, we have the 50-day moving average up here, which basically shows the way that the stock has been moving for the past 50 days, generally speaking. And again, we can see that obviously it is above that 50-day moving average line so far, which is pretty decent. Let's basically highlight up here and have a quick look at what we are seeing on the MACD. So MACD is still crossing into the green. We are dropping down a little bit in the MACD as the sell-off does continue, but obviously look at the actual fundamentals and the price action that we are seeing. The price took a big pump and then now it is selling off a bit, cooling down. So yes, this definitely could go red again, but I don't think it is too important. So yes, the MACD could be turning bearish, but I don't really think it matters at the moment, because when we are looking at the company, there's a lot going on for the business, which I will explain in just a moment. So we have the RSI down here. The RSI is currently set at 58, so a little bit high. Obviously, it's nowhere near the overbought mark at 80, but is, fairly decently in the middle, ever so slightly towards the upside, more than the oversold side. So it's pretty neutral when it comes to that, in my opinion, from what I can see from this, and that is what I think to the actual price section. Look at some of the indicators that we are seeing. So overall, I think some of the charts are useful, but I think when looking at this business, there are a lot fundamentally talked about to look at as well. Also, when we look at the technicals, we can see that actually volume has been dropping for the stock recently, and again, it does still have a lot of volume, obviously, but it's not really as much as we have seen previously, so that's not necessarily too big of a deal. Again, low volume could indicate that people are still holding the stock. I think that is somewhat the case, but obviously we do need to acknowledge the fact that the volume has been dropping recently as well. So let's have a look at how the Nasdaq 100 has been performing in the past 5 days, just to gauge the general direction that we are seeing in the markets. So clearly the Nasdaq 100 is going upwards, which is not the same which can be said for the price of CCIV. And in the past month we have seen a similar trend, but where CCIV started to slow down, the Nasdaq actually sped up in its growth. So I'm not too concerned because again, it doesn't necessarily have to be 100% the same, especially when we look at the fundamentals of the company, but that is what we are seeing. So when it comes to CCIV as a business, I do think this is a long-term hold. I mean, I think there are two approaches to this, in my personal opinion, looking at where we are. I think there is also a potential for a swing trade, but I also think this one could be a decent long-term hold. Now, the reason why I think this one could be a swing trade is obviously this is a stock which is going under a SPAC merger, so it is going to be merging soon. I think if you were to buy this one potentially now and hold it until that merger goes through, and perhaps even a few months after that, you know, we could have some quarter results, some earnings reports from how CCIV Lucid Motors is doing, and again, that could be good. It could send the share price up a little bit, and obviously once the name does change, people will be aware that the merger has gone through, and they'll be aware that they are investing in Lucid Motors rather than in a SPAC stock. So that could be a short-term trade, obviously not financial advice, just some of my thoughts, but there we go. I think there is also the long-term approach as well. So that was a short-term approach, here is the long-term. Obviously, I've spoken about this before. Lucid Motors, from what I can tell, is starting off at the top here with their, $69,000 vehicle, if we highlight it on screen. So yeah, it's about $69,000, you can see, almost even 70. They're starting off with this very high-end vehicle. Now, this is similar to what Tesla did if you remember, because Tesla initially launched the Model S. The Model S was very expensive, but then they came out with the Model 3, the Model Y, and obviously, you know, the rest of the models, but there we go. And I think this is what Lucid Motors is planning to do, because when we look at some of their plans, which we can see, and this information is coming from InsideEVs.com, basically they have 2021 forecasted for the Lucid Air. Now, we already knew this is coming out pretty soon. 2023 could bring the Project Gravity, which from what I can tell looks to be like an MPV type vehicle, you know, a people carrier if you will, a bit larger, and again, potentially something which could compete with the Model X from Tesla. And then going forwards into the future, anytime between 2023, I would say, into 2030, we have possible sedans coming out, we have possible SUVs and other types of vehicles, which could be interesting as well. And again, don't forget, they also do have a possible plan for a $25,000 car, which, as I have said before, a $25,000 electric vehicle, something which is not really on the market right now. If this was to come out, it definitely could be a game changer for the space. So I think it is interesting what we are seeing now with CCIV. I think, yes, the price is doing decently. I think this dip could be a decent opportunity to buy, in my opinion. Obviously not financial advice, as I must stress, but I think, yes, we are seeing a bit of a cool off now. It absolutely could dip a bit further, but I think soon enough this one possibly could turn itself around, and we could see a bit more growth as this one does merge, as we do have cars being put on the road. And I think, you know what, if you're looking to hold this one for the next 5 years, this one could be a company which benefits from the adoption of more and more electric vehicle technology. So thank you for watching, guys. I will see you soon. Goodbye.